back to PipeCast. This is a different episode. This is a first time we've done this in a while, comparisons.
Yep.
And what we're doing is a little shootout between Samuel Gawith's Squadron Leader and Skiff Mixture.
Mm-hmm.
Two very similar Latakia heavy blends, or English blends. I've had a long relationship with both these blends. The first one I tried was actually Squadron Leader, and it was all right. At the time, I was more of a nightcap guy, I think, and I think I also did Artisan's Blend pretty heavily. And I think I preferred Artisan's Blend to Squadron Leader. Samuel Gawith blends have a tendency to be a little bit more difficult to acquire than, Artisan's Blends or Nightcap. And sometimes there's I think that sometimes I accidentally favor blends that are a little bit easier to acquire. Yeah. And the reason why I do that is because they're so readily available. When I acquire something that's more difficult, you really should knock my socks off. So I'm going to put you through your paces a lot more heavily than something that I can just pick off the shelf or offline.
Yeah.
And or online, I should say. And but anyway, so Squadron Leader didn't really ever do anything to me, but I liked it. And then I got Skiff Mixture, and Skiff Mixture became, I think, my absolute favorite English blend from Samuel Gawith, and probably in the top 5 almost immediately. And I've been smoking Skiff Mixture for about 5 strong years now. And that's what we're smoking today.
Yeah, and I think there is, from that first season of PipeCast, the podcast version, there's an episode where you're smoking Skiff, I believe. And yeah, I've always known that you've liked Skiff. I've had it in the past, and I've had Squadron Leader, but it's been so long that I don't remember anything. I'm kind of where you were at. I really kind of just operate within that Artisan's Blend and Pipe Nightcap. And actually, for the past year, just because it's still been in the same tin that it came in, and because it's just right there, and I want to get rid of it, I just smoke From Beyond. If I want Latakia, even though it's it's inferior to Artisan and Nightcap and HH Latakia Flake, or Chelsea Morning. What's the other one? Quiet Nights. It's inferior to all those. But it's just like sitting right there. I'm like, I'll just smoke that. It gives me my Latakia.
Sometimes there is a matter of convenience where you just keep going and you get your nice little hit, and then you move on. And
it stayed. I know this isn't about From Beyond, but I'll just a side note. It stayed. The moisture content has stayed like perfect. I haven't jarred it. I just left it in the tin. So I don't know. There's some Cornell and Dills that I'll jar up and they dry out on me. Jarred up, they dried out. Mm-hmm. But this one just sits in there. Same with We Three Kings. It stayed pretty much perfect. Haven't jarred them or anything.
One of the things about Samuel Gawith is based on the finer. Let's see, here it is. The finer cut of it, which is definitely more shag than I would. And we'll do a breakdown. More shag than I'm familiar with. You probably already watched the breakdown. We should probably cut to the breakdown right now.
Alright, what we have here is Samuel Gawith's Skiff Mixture. It is comprised of Bright Virginia, Red Virginia, Latakia, and Orientals. Like very many English blends, if not all of them, it is somewhat hard to pick out the Virginia and separate it from the Orientals, because they both have that very dark brown, or not super dark brown, but kind of like an in-between medium brown color. You really can pick out the Latakia, like in all blends, unless there's Black Cavendish mixed in or Perique. It's that dark leaf. I think I can pick out the Bright Virginia here, these little brighter specks. But again, that Red Virginia and the Oriental, it is very hard to kind of say, this is this or this is that, just based on looking at it alone. And like it will be in the next blend, Squadron Leader, that we look at, it's going to be very similar to this. Though, again, since it's hard to pick out the differences, since Skiff Mixture is more Oriental forward and has a little bit more Oriental, um, you know, the only thing that may happen with Squadron Leader is there will be less of that kind of middle color brown, that like medium brown, um, because there will be less Oriental. There's still maybe the same amount of red Virginia, but we shall see when we get to that one. But yeah, this is Skiff Mixture.
And we're back. We're a little rusty. We kind of forgot that we do that breakdown up front, so we sort of rambled a little bit. But as you can see, it's a little bit more of a shaggier blend. It dries out fast, so even that, jarred up, it is on the drier side. But I don't think it doesn't affect anything. I think it's about perfect, and as long as you kind of keep it jarred up. I've had that since 2020, so it's about 2 years old.
Which is crazy, because Samuel Gawith is known to be very, very moist right out of the gate with their flakes.
But that shag, any shag ribbon, they usually bone dry if you keep them in the wrong place.
Grousemore dried out on me pretty fast.
Grousemore will do that. That's another Gawith blend. But yeah, so this is Skiff Mixture is more Oriental forward. I think it's probably the reason I like it. I really always liked a more sour note to my Latakia blends. I think it lends itself to something that's just more palatable to me. There's a twist to the next couple episodes, so bear with us. But Skiff has always been a firm favorite because I think it's more Oriental forward. It has the Latakia sits at a really comfortable smoky pace. It's not overly smoky, and for whatever reason, I've always loved it. And comparing the two, I think they are kind of sister blends because one is less Oriental facing, and the other one is more, I think, Latakia facing. With probably more Virginia. But both the base, I think both base tobaccos are Latakia.
So is Skiff Mixture enough to be a Scottish blend, or is it just shy?
Nah, I don't think so. I think Scottish blends are just a pinch
of Latakia.
It's
more Oriental, very Oriental forward.
This is more Oriental forward, but it's still, I think, but I think even the Oriental in a sense is a component. I do think these are both Latakia bases.
Okay. The reason why I ask is because maybe it's just
that smokiness is there.
Yeah, it's there for sure. But like you said, I'm really picking up on the sour part. Like if the smokiness of the Latakia comes in and then that sour kind of seeps in with it. It's really nice. Kind of refreshing since I've been smoking From Beyond.
And I love the sour. Yeah. I think the sour is the thing that makes Skiff work so well for me.
But I think what got me confused was anytime I see the word mixture, I think Scottish, because I guess the first Scottish mixture I ever had was Goblin Mixture. See, I even called it Scottish Mixture. Well, the first Scottish blend I had was Goblin Mixture, and I did not like it. And so this is called Skiff Mixture. So I'm like, is mixture a term used for just Scottish blends?
Well,
but maybe.
But I don't think that's right because Fillmore's Scottish.
Okay.
And I think we had Fillmore. Fillmore is delicious.
I know you like it.
I love Fillmore.
I don't remember much about it.
Fillmore is it just works.
Yeah, and it's a peas blend.
It is a peas blend. Fillmore was one of the one. Fillmore's the reason I fell in love with peas. It's a part of his Fog City series, I think. And Fillmore's excellent. It's ridiculous. It shouldn't be as good as it is, but it works.
And I don't know if it's snobbery. I don't know. You would think it'd be the other way around, but I just have a hard time thinking that any American blender is going to be better than a European blender, whether it's German or Scandinavian or British, right? But peas knocks it out of the park a lot.
Yes.
Seattle Pipe Club is good, pretty consistently. Ken Byron Ventures is really good. So, I don't know. That was just a little side note I was making. But, yeah, so I know I've had Skiff Mixture before. I think if you go back into our archives of episodes, I know we did it, but I just don't remember much.
Skiff Mixture was a part of a giant shootout.
I know Squadron was.
Okay.
I don't know if Skiff was.
Skiff might not have been.
But I know we did smoke it on one episode, or at least you did. But yeah, I'm liking it. It definitely has enough Latakia, like you said, that it is a Latakia base. But yeah, the sourness really adds I don't want to say complexity to it, but it adds something different that I don't pick up on in Artisan's Blend or in Nightcap. You know, when I'm smoking Nightcap and Artisan's Blend, like I'm smoking, it should be like I'm smoking a leather boot, and that's what it is. This is something a little bit more is going on, and I like that.
I think that Skiff lends itself to being smoked a lot more slowly.
Mm.
You might find yourself, if you have a more moist version, like a fresh 10 version of Skiff mixture, that you're going to be relighting a lot good, which is good because you should be smoking slowly.
Yeah.
Skiff mixture really does lend itself to being, you know, right where it needs to be in terms of moisture, slow puffing, and it's going to go out pretty quickly. But
yeah.
I mean, I think if you smoke it slow, it's very rewarding. This is not a puffing tobacco. I'm sure people would argue that there shouldn't be any tobaccos that you puff away in,
mm-hmm.
but I don't agree with that. I think that there are various ways to get bouquets and different types of flavors out of tobacco, and some of that has to do with cadence.
Yeah.
Kind of a little off topic, but like, yeah, I think Haunted Bookshop remains as one of my favorite puffers.
Mm.
So, yeah, you can just kind of puff away at it.
That might be something we need to do. I might need to order a 10 of that and revisit, because I haven't had it in like 3 years.
That was your thing.
Yeah, when I first got going, I don't know if it was an influence from Matches H60.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, but I don't know if it was an influence by him, because I mean I was still like kind of just I was trying to absorb all the information I could, right? And so I was watching a lot of Matches, watching a lot of stuff and things, Mutton Chop, and so like for some reason Haunted Bookshop I gravitated to it, probably also by the name. The name is very intriguing. And I liked it a lot, but I think the 10 dried out on me, and so I threw it in like I was an idiot. I threw it in with like a bunch of like scrap, you know, like the end of a 10 of other stuff. So it's kind of like in like this, amalgamation that I kind of just sit and let age, and so I need to get another 10 and give it a go.
They recently redesigned the packaging, and I think they recently came out with a crumble cake version.
Oh, they did?
I think so. I think they have a crumble cake version of Haunted Bookshop.
As much as...
Here we go. Look at this guy. He's getting red. He's enraged.
No.
You can look at him. He's about to start telling about how this is a complete con for money. And
as much as I think that, because of my experience in having Haunted Bookshop in a jar, jarred up perfectly fine, dry out on me, I'll probably get the crumble cake. I'll probably get the crumble cake.
I think the crumble cake could work.
Yeah.
Is it going to be better? Or is it going to meld the flavoring together? No. No, Haunted Bookshop is one of those things where I think... Alright. I think people smoke Haunted Bookshop pretty much because they're like, Haunted Bookshop? That sounds cool. And that's the reason they got it and they smoked it.
Yep.
And then it just sort of... Once... Because you're looking for something... I think people who start smoking pipes, they're looking for something relatable, something that they relate to, sort of, right?
Yeah.
This is not negative. I'm not saying like you should be a better picker, but I think you just gravitate towards advertising, and I think it's got the most clever advertising. Haunted Bookshop.
Yeah.
It feels like something that you'd want to. You'd smoke a pipe in a place that was a Haunted Bookshop. I don't know why, but that's the way it feels to me. And then the thing is like you never forget your first kind of moment. Yeah. And I think when that's where you start out, or somewhere along the lines when you buy your first 10,
yeah.
You're gravitated towards the packaging or the name or whatever, and it's always going to be in your rotation.
Yeah.
And I think that's that's what keeps Haunted Bookshop going. I think if it was called, like Brown Elephant or just I think it'd be gone the way of the dinosaur. But I think Haunted Bookshop is a testament to that whoever named it.
Yeah.
More so than it being. I don't think this is a controversial argument. I'm not saying it's bad, but I don't think anyone would say that this is the best pipe tobacco has to offer.
because it's a burley based blend, right?
It's a burley based blend.
So it's not even like, I mean, it's no Solani, which nothing is. But like, yeah, I mean, and Cornell Hill has so many burley blends. They have so many that they're just called, what's it called? Burley number 2, burley number whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They got so many burley blends. And that was what was weird is that, and I think you're onto something, because it plays into, we'll go, I probably talked about this before, but Zach one time mentioned, I guess, you were talking about how, like, I guess I have an eye for minimalist styling or marketing or something.
Mm-hmm.
Because I love Miller Lite. They for the last about a decade, I guess, maybe a little less than a decade, they've gone back to their old white label, just says the word light on it. They did that because it was a marketing campaign, tie-in promotion with the second Anchorman movie, which I didn't know that. And I only really recognized that they swapped to that can because the car, the number 2 race car in NASCAR, went from that blue, whatever Miller Lite used to look like. They swapped it over and it was a white car. And it was the best looking NASCAR car at the time. It was just incredible looking. And I was like, this is so incredible. And then I saw the can in real life and I'm like, man, this is amazing. I say all that to say that there were studies shown after they switched, this is why it still is the white can, that their sales went up 200%, and they didn't change anything in the formula. So like the beer tastes the same whether it's in the blue can or the white can, but they just sold a lot more when they switched to the white can. So yeah, I say that because I had Haunted Bookshop in the past, and I've had some of the other burley based blends from Cornell Dill, and they all were not that great, except I liked Haunted Bookshop. And it could just be because, like you said, could be the name, could be the marketing, the packaging, everything about that. It may be just as bland or not bland, but it may be on par with all those other burleys that I didn't really care for. Because I didn't like Old Joe Krantz. I tried it and didn't like it at all.
Yeah.
And so, I think you're probably onto something. It's something that when we in marketing, there's some kind of psychology to it. When we see something that we resonate with, it changes, the complexity of how we take it in. We accept it.
Yeah.
And
that's true.
So yeah, I think you might be onto something. But maybe we'll revisit Haunted Bookshop one day.
Yeah, we'll definitely will. We'll do it this year.
You heard it here.
We'll do the crumble cake. Yeah, we'll do a crumble cake because the mixture is not going to change.
Yeah, there's no point.
It's just going to be pressed or whatever.
Yeah, there's no point.
So we definitely should do that.
Yes, I'm going back on my old hard ways of. Yeah, I mean, I had a second. You saw it in my eyes. I had a second when I was about to just go off.
Started getting the shakes over here.
I was like, ooh, these commercialism, corporate sons of. But after I had just said that, yeah, my regular ribbon cut dried out on me. So I had to take a moment and reassess my life for a second. But Skiff mixture, I'm liking it. I'm really interested. I mean, for full transparency, we're gonna dump this out and we're gonna smoke Squadron right after the camera stops rolling.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see now that back to back what's gonna be different. What's gonna be is it as quantifiable as they pulled back on the Orientals and they pushed up on the Latakia? I don't know.
I guess this is going to be one of those things where you're about to get a twist. I'll give you a little hint because we're about to end this here. My palate may have changed over the last couple of years.
Hot dog.
Yeah, so
you heard it here first.
So we'll see you next time when we revisit Squadron Leader.